Usually I say thank you at the end of every event, but I would like to start by thanking you all, the parents, all the students, the teachers, and the head teacher of the school, Stavrula, who has worked very hard to bring this together. All the committee members of Left Hand Association, and all of you, thank you for coming here tonight. I know there are other important issues, but drugs and alcohol is not an easy subject to talk about any time. We have a lot of work to do tonight, and without further ado, I would like to introduce you Lesley Johnson, who is the Drugs and Alcohol Coordinator in the London Borough of Enfield. She has been working for the London Borough of Enfield for 18 years, if I'm not mistaken. She knows her subject very well. Usually I put down order of tonight's agenda, but you will see Lesley works in a different way. She will interact with you, and you will see the reason why I didn't put any order of discussions tonight on the agenda, any agenda. The only thing I would like to ask you, please, if you can fill up the assessment form. It doesn't matter whether it says part 1 or part 2. You just fill it up, and we will. It is vital that you fill them up to get an idea of how you feel about these seminars. Thank you very much.
I'm the Borough Drugs Advisor, and I coordinate everything that happens in schools, colleges, anywhere there is education. I have a much wider remit than that. I am what they call the vulnerable young persons worker, so I do the direct work with young people who are sexually exploited because of drug use and alcohol use, were involved in gangs and have got themselves excluded from school or into difficulties because of risk-taking behaviour. Whether that risk is illegal drugs or issues at home or whoever they're cranky with, that's it. So that's what I do in my day-to-day job. It's really nice to actually come and see young people sat here. Now you're thinking, oh my God, I could be at home doing this, I've got so much stuff to do. I know some of you have finished your exams. Congratulations. I hope you do well. And you know what they say, if you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And looking at you, I'm sure you did a lot of preparation. So good luck. And remember, nobody ever died because they didn't get an A star. So I know you're probably stressed. I know your people are very, very stressed. But, you know, you've done the best that you can. So good luck with that. And some of you, some much younger people in here, you will all have got drugs education in whatever schools and colleges you have been attending, please God, okay? Whether they were any good or not depends on the person delivering, and whether it's the information you wanted depends on the person delivering. But also up to you. Ask the question. Don't sit there thinking, I hope somebody asks about skunk or cannabis or this, that and the other, or the legal issues, because I'd really quite like to know that. Because this is your opportunity, and I'll tell it to you straight, okay? Big difference between what the parents think that you need to know and what you think the parents need to know, and the reality of what's happening out there for young people and what the parents think is happening for young people. So there's always this kind of big gap between expectations and reality. So I'm hoping to bridge some of those. And that's it. Ask the questions. I'll ask them to you, and do please respond. Okay? Thank you very much, and enjoy. I have to carry this thing. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's that. Okay, so I always start by because this is the topic. Okay, and when we talk about drugs, you can see I'm not a teacher by the writing. So if I talk about drugs, okay, it will include everything that is a drug. So that includes alcohol, all right? So if I say to you, put your hand up and give me a drug name. Cannabis. Cannabis, thank you. Our most commonly used illegal drug, the chosen illegal drug of young people. Okay, so thank you for that, get that out of the way. Anybody else want to give me a drug name? Weed. Okay. Heroin. Somebody said weed. Okay, weed. Okay. A general term. or often a street term, yes. Paracetamol. I'm going to put that down under medicines. Because you can give me Calpol, Nurofen, and quite often, if on a bad year, more young people die from paracetamol than they would from maybe crystal meth. So, you know, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's safe. Yes, young sir? Sorry? Heroin. Yeah, I've got heroin. Oh, steroids. Oh, I beg your pardon. Sorry. Now, there are two types of steroids. Are you talking about anabolic steroids? The ones that pump up your muscles? Yeah, give you a six-pack, make you look really good in your skins. Okay? For those of you who are thinking steroids, oh, that's in my medicine. We're talking... Ecstasy. Yeah, well, I'll get to that in a second. We're talking anabolic steroids and not the corticosteroids. If anyone has asthma, there would be a steroid in the asthma inhaler, but it's a medicine and it's a slightly different one. I'll talk about the downsides of these, because there certainly is a downside. Always a trade-off, ladies and gents. Okay, and somebody said ecstasy? Yeah. Crystal meth. Okay, crystal meth. Didn't make the big splash in the UK that everyone thought it was going to. Very big in Australia, New Zealand and America. It's in the UK, but it's not anything like the curse that it was going to be. Sorry? Crack. Crack? Crack, a form of smokable cocaine. So it's in the same group. Yes? Magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms. Okay, you can't buy them in Sainsbury's or Tesco's and Asda's, and they don't look like anything like you would make your omelettes with. They're tiny, but I have got pictures and stuff, so you get to see what they look like, and your people at home get to see what they look like, because what often everyone is concerned about is, well, how would I know? How do I know if my young person's taking drugs? Well, you should really, because they're yours, and you know how they are. If they came in drunk, you'd smell it off them, and you'd know what was going on. But there are other signs and symptoms, and sorry guys, I will give the parents a heads up on it, because it's important, because it could be an issue. But anyway, we'll worry about that afterwards. Anything else? Tobacco. Tobacco, thank you, thank God for that. I thought nobody was going to give me any legal ones. Okay, yes.
Diazepam.
Diazepam, I'll put that under the medicines, okay? Yeah, they're tranquilizers. And what else? We're missing some serious legal one.
Morphine.
Morphine? Oh, okay, morphine. Thank you. Alcohol. And we overlook alcohol. It's so common to us that it's almost invisible. It's there if you're watching the soaps, if you're watching EastEnders. Where is all the action now? Yeah, in the pub. Everdale, it's all around the pub. Coronation Street, it's all around the pub. Go to a family wedding, it's all there. If a christening, you know, we celebrate with alcohol. Those who make Holy Communion, I mean, I don't know whether you guys do, Roman Catholic, you'll go and have wine with the Eucharist. So yes, okay, thank you. It's actually, they're very closely related, I wasn't sure if you had that. So you would have alcohol used there for celebration. So it's there all the time. Well, that's a small amount of stuff that's out there. Okay. Anything else? Thank you. We'll call that, somebody said sniffing glue. Okay? Yes, it's what they call volatile substance abuse. And that forms two ways. People either use half gas or sniff glue. Now, one is a dumb thing to do, and the other one is a deadly thing to do. Can you tell me which is which? Okay, sniffing glue. Any takers on that? That's something that's really very serious. That when I come across a young person who is using or misusing substances, they say to me, well, can you do some work with them? The first thing you try and do is reduce harm. Reduce down what's being used. There are no harm reduction messages to beginning with this. Now, if it's happening at home, the parents often have to look underneath the bed. There's quite often lots and lots of aerosol cans. That's a big giveaway. How often are young people getting through various sprays of some sort? All of that is a clue. It is a most serious thing. But obviously we have a mixed age group in here tonight, so some of the stuff I can't go into too much detail, but I will be here for you to ask afterwards, and if you want to, I can explain it more, but it's tricky because it's what we call age appropriate, for those of you who want to have the information. Anybody else want to add any drugs up there? Okay. Morphine we have there, which would be under opium. Morphine originally comes from opium, which is heroin, yes.
Caffeine.
Caffeine, thank you. How many of you like Red Bull? Yes, it gives you wings, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. And it makes your heart beat really, really fast. And some of you will think, it doesn't have that effect on me, it doesn't bother me at all. I could drink cans of stuff. It would have kept you up all night while you were doing your revision. Okay? You can have a cup of coffee and some chocolate. And I'll just have a drop more Red Bull, because you like the taste. There are some young people who've actually died mixing Red Bull with alcohol, because one does one thing to your body and the other one does another thing to your body, and it causes great confusion for the heart, because that's kind of what killed Elvis, except it wasn't Red Bull, it was the depressants and the uppers, and in the end his brain was saying to his heart, slow down, no, speed up, no, slow down, and in the end it was, what do you want me to do? And he had a heart attack. So there, laughing gas. Nitrous oxide, yes, apparently the posh people use that. If you go to festivals, quite often there are some black marigold gloves or condoms. They'll blow them up, they'll give you a £5 worth of gas in them, and you just inhale them and they make your voice very, very squeaky. Absolutely, that's a good waste of £5 if you ask me, but then I'm a grown-up and I would say that, wouldn't I? But there are lots of things that young people out there kind of get crazy with, and sometimes it depends who they're with. Have you got a crowd of friends who will, if you do go out and you get mashed up, is there somebody who's going to get you home safe? Is there somebody who's going, well, okay, I'll keep an eye on her because she's going to be sick? All of these little messages about how young people can be and not be. How many of you young people on this side have actually been at a family do and saw some drinks on the table, thought, oh, I haven't tasted that pink one, I'll just have a little slurp, just while no one's looking. Anyone? Thank you for your honesty. Thank you. And that's actually how most young people have a little taste. What about you guys? Have you tasted alcohol? Okay, that's mostly. Have you had a lot of alcohol? Yes, yeah, because we do now. The Brits have a huge culture of alcohol use. Okay? Because the boys too are under that pressure. And there's huge issues around steroid use. Okay? Now you may look fabulous with pecs, like Beck's, okay, and your lovely figure, all gorgeous, but on the inside there is a major muscle which is also expanding. Can anyone tell me what that might be? Your heart, yeah. So while you're looking fabulous, your heart is also expanding, and your heart isn't designed to expand. Your heart is the size of your fist, closed within your rib cage, and that's how that looks like. So there are the issues with that. The bad news for the boys is it shrinks your testicles. Okay, so I know, not a good look, lads. Okay, and they end up what we call man boobs, whereas the fat is altered and distributed. Ladies, periods change, voices get deeper, facial hair. Think about your really elderly grandparents because of hormones and the way the body works. Okay, so when we say there's always a trade-off. And that's the trade-off with steroids. So, although you can't go into the chemist, don't be tempted to take them. Increases acne for the men, and yellowing, and furious mood swings. Are you all right there? Okay, all right. Tobacco. We'll look at tobacco in a minute, and we'll look at alcohol. We'll take cannabis. We'll have a look at it in depth because it is the one that's a problem. Gas and glue we know is particularly deadly. We know that over 60% of young people who died was the very first time they tried it, which is no joking at all, because it's not. If people use recreational drugs for fun, nobody's intention is, oh, I think I'll kill myself. And if the intention is to commit suicide, there are more effective ways of doing it. Okay. Magic mushrooms, okay? We'll get to have a look at those. They got quite popular there for a while. They're what they call a hallucinogenic, which means makes you see and hear things. Now we've got 5 senses. We see, we hear, we touch, we taste, we smell, but we have 2 other senses. We have sense of time and sense of space. And that's what's interfered with that. So you could have the walls moving in on you, or the chairs dancing. It sounds funny, but what they do is they open kind of windows in your mind, and they're all sorts of strange experiences in and out, and sometimes they don't close properly, and that's when people say, oh, he's got mental health issues, or he's really switchy, or he's got psychosis. That's what they mean, okay? So that's what they decide about that. Heroin, opium and morphine. I've never sat with a group of young people who said, oh, when you finish, miss, I'm going to rush out and see a careers advisor and say, where do I sign up to be a smackhead? Okay, as a career option. But I have worked with an awful lot of young people who did end up on heroin, and quite a lot of them never touched anything in between. Dodgy boyfriends, who they hung out with, the risks that they took around there, and that's always been a concern for the parents, who are their friends. And parents, it's much harder to find who the friends are, because when my girls were growing up, in the early years, the house phone would go, and I would answer it, and a little voice would say, oh, can I speak to? And I'd have a little chat, and they were either respectful or not, and I would say, well, I don't like the sound of her, she's not coming round. Or you're not staying over at her house. But now, as they got older and mobile phones came in, I was bypassed. I had no idea who they were going out and being with. So this is an issue for parents. But that's about how you negotiate your way around your house. Are you going to be trusted? Are they going through your pockets? Cocaine, all of that complete rubbish. But dealers will do what they want because that's what they're after. It's all about the money. For example, we have tomatoes now that you can keep in the fridge for weeks on end, and they don't rot. And they don't change. They don't have any flavour, and they don't taste very nice, but they are cross-pollinated, and they're working on one now which is crossed with an Icelandic cod gene, which is a fish that lives in really, really, really cold climates. So we can have tomatoes that grow in the snow. They won't have any flavour. So when everyone goes, well, why do they do that? Why do they have to do that? They did because they can. Because we're clever. Because we produce stuff. We could produce crops now that give lots and lots and lots of a return for it. So we're not growing that potato, we'll grow that because you get more. And that's how it works. So it's science generally. And that's why we have that, okay? I'm now going to ask you to, you've been sitting long enough listening to me. Okay, so what do I want to do now? I have here a list of cards with drug names on, and on the back there is some information, okay? And I want you to decide, for some of you, I'll go round. For those who don't want to take part, you don't have to have a card. It's just that we need to know what the risk is, and you'll get some information. So if I pull the cards out, can I put the microphone down for a second? Yeah, thank you. Right, okay, so we have lots of cards here. Yes, yeah, hold them down, so it's pick a card, any card. There's only about 16 or 17 cards, so anyone can have, yes, and I have to. No, which side? Okay. You don't need a card, do you, sir? No, no. You at the front, you get a good seat. Yeah. I think some over here will like It's a class C. GHB is, and you think that should go up in the least harmful. Okay. GHB is commonly used now as daybreak drug. Issues around there. Lots and lots of other issues with it, although it's a class C, it's not widely used. It depends if you've got groups of friends who are using it or not. Okay, I'll put that there, thank you very much. Anyone got one out there they'd like to put? Let's keep the pace going here, otherwise we'll have people falling asleep. Anybody else? Yes, please. Thank you. Ecstasy. Ecstasy, where do you think that ought to go? Mostly dangerous? Highly dangerous? Anyone disagree? Once upon a time, you would agree it was highly dangerous because we have no idea what's in it. It's the stamp that goes on it. There was a pub down in Palms Green that shall remain nameless, and somebody's in there one night and there was a chap going from table to table, doing a little bit of shotting, you know, stealing a bit of this, doing a bit of that, okay, selling little packs of what looked like to be weed, okay, and little white tablets. The barman called police, the police came, confiscated the stuff, it went off to forensics. When it came back, they turned out to be dog worming tablets. Well, he was doing a roaring trade, and all the young people in there thought, oh yeah, I'm really cool, I know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, dog worming tablets, okay? So at the time, they were giving a tenner for dog worming tablets.
Oh, how lovely.
So, but the point is, because it's illegal, there are no rights. There are no terms and conditions. You have no quality control and things like that. It has gone down in use simply because so much rubbish was in. So if you want to put that up there, my darling, you put it where you like. Okay. Okay. And you've got amphetamine speed. We didn't get speed up there because it's another one that's going down. We now have MDMA instead, which is slightly different in terms of its effects. And where do you think that should go? Harmful. Okay, well, everything's harmful. I mean, I've got coffee here. If I had a heart condition, I may not be drinking it so strong. But hopefully I haven't. Therefore, I'm managing my risk. Okay? So if you put it on where you like it to go. Okay, on harm. Come on, who's got the next one? Come on, who's got tobacco? Okay, come on. Quick, quick, quick. Okay. LSD, lysergic acid dialdominide. Class A, still around, not in common usage. It is with again, older. It's in and out of the body in 2 to 3 days. Again, hallucinogenic, so are you messing with your mental health? But that's kind of up to you. Going to be there. Okay, right, we've just got a couple down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you've got steroids. Yes, these are the ones I was talking about, anabolics. They have to be injected a lot of the time. So where would they go? A lot of the girls would think, well, I wouldn't be using that. I don't go to the gym. I don't need to be doing that. So you might think, well, it's not very harmful. If you're a young man and your brother's in the gym all the time and he's using it, and if you notice he's getting a neck like a bull and he's really aggressive and you can't say anything to him because you'll get a clump, then you might think, whoa, that's not good. So it depends. It really does depend. It depends on your circumstances and your family. So where do you think for yourself? Okay, all right. Next. Yes, please. Are you the one? Okay. Chosen one from that side. What have you got there? Yeah. Yeah, benzodiazepines. Okay. These are the ones the doctor will give you. Yes. It's about 100,000. Okay, that would have mean since I've been in here, 12 people would have died in this country from tobacco. Now, if I ask you to... And a lot of young people don't like anyone to talk about cannabis because it's all about them. It's their drug. They use it. They use it for recreation. It's not doing anyone any harm. It's how they chill out. Apart from being okay. Your increased heart rate. Remember we did that activity? Okay, that's the first thing. Although cannabis is a stimulant. People like it because it gives them a buzz, and people like it because it's children, so it's a depressant. Mostly it's a hallucinogenic. It sits in the fatty tissues of the brain longer than any other drug. So it's not in and out of the body in 2 or 3 days. If you use a spliff once a day, and then 30 days before it leaves your body, okay? It lowered blood pressure, and that lowered blood pressure is when people get munchies and they're starving, and so that's why that is, because of the blood pressure and mouth, and we have increased young people visiting clinics for increased mouth and throat cancer, because it's stronger and it clings, the smoke is thicker. Then for your mental health, anxiety, panic attacks, paranoia, mood swings, psychotic episodes, and increased risk of schizophrenia. It doesn't cause it, but if there are underlying mental health issues within the family, it certainly underlines them. And the biggest thing for the schools is the young person's dissatisfaction with school. So you may have done some exams, and you may have been fine, but now, do you know what, I can't be asked. So your homework goes down, your attendance goes down, the quality of the work you submit goes down, and that's the biggest thing that the schools can say. And it isn't, and I say that because we have a lot of young people in here tonight who've just finished exams, and obviously doing very well in school, so this won't apply to them. But there is a huge misconception of how big the problem is. And if I said to you guys, is there a big problem for drug use in Enfield? What would you answer? Yeah, okay. What about this side of the room? Do you think there's a big problem with drugs in Enfield? Yeah. Okay. This side of the room? Yeah. Okay. What if I said London? Big problem in London? Very big problem in London? What about these ones? What do you think? London, no? Average? Okay. What if I said in your schools? Oh, yeah. Okay. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay.
For your valuable information. It is an interesting subject. We can go on all evening. But if you like if you have any questions you'd like to speak to Lesley, please do so. And can I also ask, the most important thing tonight is to fill up this form for us, please. It doesn't matter whether it's a session 1 or 2. And the other most important thing, please eat. There's plenty of food and drink. Don't let us take it home tonight. We brought it for you. And if you have anything, I would like to say thank you to Hellenic TV, to Cassino Robinson for being here tonight, to Tony from Crossroads and Edge Concern, Mr. Shah from the American Association, and all of you for being here tonight. Thank you very much indeed.
Με λένε Ραφαέλα, ήρθαμε στο Ελληνικό Σχολείο Αγίου Δημητρίου στο Edmonton για να μιλήσουμε μας για τα ναρκωτικά. Το ήβρα πολύ χρήσιμο επειδή τώρα ξέρω για το αλκοόλ και τι παθαίνω άμα το πίνω πολύ και τι ας πούμε πρέπει να προσέχω που φκαινώ έξω με τις φίλες μου.
My name is Andrea and today we learnt about drugs and alcohol and different types of drugs and what they do to our bodies, and now we know what to watch out for and the effects that they have on our lives.
My name is Georgia and today I learnt a lot about drugs and alcohol and how they affect you, and not to go near them, and yeah.
My name is Penny and today we learned about drugs and I know now not to go near them because they're dangerous.
Εγώ είμαι ο Σάββας, έρχομαι στο Ελληνικό Σχολείο του Αγίου Δημητρίου στο Edmonton και σήμερα μάθαμε για τα ναρκωτικά και τι επικίνδυνα είναι. Ήξερα λίγα πράγματα, όμως σήμερα μάθα πολλά. Το μόνο πράγμα που μπορώ να σας πω είναι ούτε να πάτε κοντά στα ναρκωτικά, είναι cool, είναι τίποτε. Ms. Johnson, today we talk about the seminar about the alcohol and drugs. What were the main points of this?
Well, the main points is that some young people and some adults get really hung up on illegal drugs and, oh my God, these terrible things. But most of our young people are not really involved in the serious illegal drugs. It's mostly cannabis, alcohol and tobacco that still cause the greatest amount of harm and long-term health implications. Most young people's drugs use, for the majority of them, is usually experimental, take it, leave it, move on, job done. And only a very small percent, only 2 to 3% go on to have major problems. So it's usually, I like to focus on the illegal ones as well, especially as we had a mixed audience with some younger people here, so you have to give it a balance.
How often do you see young people, let's say from the age of 11 till 15, 16, to make use of these drugs and alcohol?
Oh, from quite a young age. It depends what's happening in the household. If their homes, they have alcohol, if it's used there, or they see their family smoke, and they often think this is cool, if my parents do it, this must be okay, because they're the font of all knowledge. Illegal drugs is something that really happens at secondary school, maybe year 9, when they get to about 15 or 16, they become more independent and think, oh, I might try. But a lot of people choose not to and think, oh no, I've heard about that. And the more information they have and the more solid they are in their own personalities, then the less we have harm come to young people.
And finally, if parents maybe understand that their kids make use of drugs, what were the signs of this?
Quite often it's change in personality. That's very tricky because when the kids hit puberty, they have change in personality anyway. They become more secretive and pull away from the family. But that's quite a temporary thing. Most of the time it's the signs are they staying out late? Are they totally distant from the family? Are they being deceitful? Are there things going missing in the house? Is there money going missing? Because normally they're your children, you leave stuff around and all of a sudden you think, well, I thought I had a bit more money in the purse than that, and there's a strange smell, or their eyes are very glazed when they come in. But quite often they could have a cold. You do have to be careful, but they were all the leaflets here which a lot of the parents have taken on signs and symptoms of what to look out for. So,
Mr. Johnson, thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you.
Κυρία Σταυρούλα Προδρόμου, είστε διευθύντρια του Ελληνικού Σχολείου Αγίου Δημητρίου στο Edmonton. Σήμερα έγινε ένα σημαντικό σεμινάριο σχετικά με την επιμόρφωση των μαθητών, σχετικά με το αλκοόλ και τα ναρκωτικά. Πόσο σημαντικό είναι τέτοιου είδους εκδηλώσεις για τους μαθητές στο σχολείο μας?
Πιστεύω, και όπως θα προσέξατε και εσείς από το ενδιαφέρον των παιδιών, είναι πολύ σημαντικό, γιατί τα παιδιά πρέπει να επιμορφώνονται σε θέματα τέτοιου είδους, γιατί συνεχώς βρίσκονται σε κινδύνους καθημερινά, είτε στο περιβάλλον που ζουν, είτε στο σχολικό τους περιβάλλον, και αυτά πιστεύω τους βοηθούν πάρα πολύ να ξεπεράσουν αυτές τις δυσκολίες. Όπως είναι τα ναρκωτικά και το αλκοόλ, πιστεύω είναι και το πρόβλημα της βίας, γιατί αυτό υπάρχει πάρα πολύ στα σχολεία, στην καθημερινότητα των παιδιών, και πιστεύω τέτοιου είδους εκδηλώσεις, τέτοιου είδους σεμινάρια είναι πολύ καλό να γίνονται στα σχολεία μας.
Πόσο συχνά παρουσιάζονται προβλήματα στους μαθητές τέτοιου είδους ηλικίας στα ελληνικά σχολεία όσον αφορά και το αλκοόλ και τα ναρκωτικά, και φυσικά το φαινόμενο της βίας γενικά στα σχολεία, το οποίο είναι ένα θέμα που ελπίζω στο μέλλον να γίνει κάποιο σχετικό σεμινάριο?
Βέβαια. Όσο για το αλκοόλ και τα ναρκωτικά, δεν έχουμε στα ελληνικά παροικιακά σχολεία, γιατί όπως γνωρίζετε είναι πολύ λίγες οι ώρες που έχουμε τα παιδιά μαζί μας. Όμως έρχονται και μας λένε για φίλους τους που έχουν πάθει κάποια προβλήματα, και αυτό μας έδωσε την ευκαιρία αυτή και να προσπαθήσουμε να φέρουμε και εμείς κάποιους για να μιλήσουν στα παιδιά, και θα ευχαριστήσουμε βέβαια τον κύριο Γιώργο Σάββα που ήταν ο πρωτοπόρος αυτής της εκδήλωσης, και την Lesley Johnson που τα είπε τόσο πολύ ωραία στα παιδιά. Όσο για τη βία, ναι, υπάρχει πάρα πολύ στα σχολεία και το βλέπουμε καθημερινά. Επηρεάζουν μάλιστα τα παιδιά μας και στα δικά μας τα σχολεία, και μπορώ να πω ότι οι εκπαιδευτικοί μας είναι καλά επιμορφωμένοι σε αυτό το θέμα, και πάντοτε όταν αντιμετωπίσουμε κάποιο θέμα, αμέσως τους στέλνουμε στους ειδικούς, σε αυτούς τους ειδικούς, και πάντοτε υπάρχει μια βοήθεια για τα παιδιά.
Και αφού είστε διευθύντρια του σχολείου, πλησιάζει καλοκαίρι και τα σχολεία θα πρέπει να κλείσουν,
Πώς βρήκατε τη φετινή χρονιά?
Η φετινή χρονιά ήταν μια χρονιά συνηθισμένη όπως τις άλλες, με τις δυσκολίες, με τις ευκολίες ας πούμε, αλλά τα παιδιά το χάρηκαν. Εμείς οι εκπαιδευτικοί προσπαθήσαμε να δώσουμε τον καλύτερο μας σε αυτό για να βοηθήσουμε τα παιδιά να μάθουν για την κουλτούρα τους, να μάθουν τη γλώσσα τους και πολύ περισσότερο την ορθόδοξη θρησκεία τους.
Κύριε Προδρόμο, ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ και να ευχηθούμε απλά καλή συνέχεια και καλό καλοκαίρι.
Ευχαριστώ επίσης και σε εσάς. Καλό καλοκαίρι και καλή συνέχεια. Ευχαριστώ.